The goal of the project is to characterize the circulation of the water in Prince William Sound. And on top of that, there's some researchers at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory in California who are interested in modeling the circulation with a computer. And so what we're doing during this experiment, which is new, is we're feeding them data as we collect it, so that they can use that data to help sort of nudge their model to model the circulation correctly.
Okay, on deck. The next site, right? Yep. Okay, we can go to the next site.
It's important if you want to understand sort of the fate of a spilled oil and the dispersal, or say an aircraft landed into the ocean and sank to 50 meters. Where would it go? Where would the dive team go to look? Where would search and rescue go? So there's sort of an academic side to it, and then also a very practical side to this project. I think to coordinate a project on this size with this many boats and to collect as much field data as possible, we only have one season where we can do that reliably in the summer because the winter is quite stormy. But it's also when there's the most activity in the Sound too, so understanding the circulation in the summer is very important because it's when it sees the most use, from commercial fishing to recreational use. We were taking vertical profiles of water properties, so we were measuring temperature, salinity, the amount of nutrients in the water, which are important for phytoplankton, and the amount of phytoplankton itself in the water. And so we visited a number of stations within the Sound. We were trying to sort of build a three-dimensional picture of the distribution of different water properties. And the modelers use this data directly to help them understand the circulation. There are some things you can't measure with instruments, and so we have to go old-fashioned and take up water samples from various depths in the ocean. And so from those we also measure phytoplankton and the amount of nutrients, partly as a check to make sure the instruments are working correctly. But we also did a net tow today, so we pulled the net through 100 meters of water and to see what creatures we could catch. And that is something you cannot measure with an instrument package with electronics. And I'll mention too that there's also people who are interested in computer modeling the growth of phytoplankton and zooplankton in the Sound.
I don't know what we got. We got keating gnats.
So collecting this data is helping to validate their model.
Maybe some copepods.
We send the information to the University of Alaska in Fairbanks, and they have sort of a database set up, and they archive, all oceanographic data taken in Alaskan waters, and then that data is available to researchers. A very similar experiment was run 5 years ago, and it was dead calm the entire experiment, and so while I'm sure they enjoyed the cruise very much, it only told us what the conditions were like when it was very calm. And so this 2 weeks has had both, and that's a very useful comparison to make.